A great evening to you. Warm welcome to the midweek edition of Business Live. Coming up in this bulletin, inflation for August 2025 declines marginally to 11.5%, the lowest in 4 years and below the end-of-year target of 11.9% set by the government for 2025.
Inflation is falling steadily. Prices rose by 11.5% in August 2025, down from 12.1% in July. And as I mentioned earlier, this is the lowest inflation rate we've seen in almost 4 years.
What does this mean to the business community? We are live with them. Also in this bulletin, government sets September 6th deadline for MultiChoice Ghana to reduce charges for DSTV customers.
To the 6th. If by the 6th there is no resolution, we will shut down operations of MultiChoice TV. No company, no corporate entity is more powerful than the collective interest of the Ghanaian people.
Plus, on the Joy Business Van today, we will discover how ICANN Autotech is transforming auto repairs in Ghana. We have details of these and more lined up for you. Please stay on. Thanks so much for your time. I am Pius Kojobaka. To our lead story for today, the year-on-year inflation for August 2025 slowed down to 11.5% from the 12.1% recorded in July 2025. This is the 8th consecutive decline this year and the lowest in 4 years. The figure is also below the end-of-year target of 11.9% set by the government for this year. More in this report.
Current inflation figure is below the end-of-year target of 11.9%. set by government for 2025. The August figure is the lowest recorded in almost 4 years. Month-on-month, overall prices actually fell by 1.3%, offering households some respite from prolonged cost of living pressures. Government statistician Dr. Al-Hassan Idrisu noted the development shows that the pressures driving inflation over the past month are declining.
The data show inflation is falling steadily. Prices rose by 11.5% in August 2025, down from 12.1% in July. And as I mentioned earlier, this is the lowest inflation rate we've seen in almost 4 years.
He urged businesses and households to take advantage of the current decline in inflation rate.
So for households, falling prices are an opportunity to save more and to shop smarter. So families can buy their staples like rice or maize in bulk to cut costs. For businesses, lower inflation is a green light to invest and also to stay competitive. This is the time to strengthen operations, expand carefully, and take advantage of a more stable price environment.
The government statistician also called on government to consolidate the gains from disinflation by maintaining strict fiscal discipline.
And for government, we'd like to emphasize that this will be the time to lock in the disinflation with fiscal discipline and stronger local supply chains. The Ghana Statistical Service remains committed to providing accurate and timely data to guide decision-making by households, businesses, and policymakers.
Food inflation declined to 14.8% in August 2025 from 15.1% in July, which means the rate of increase fell by 2.5% in 1 month. On regional basis, the Upper West region continued to register the highest inflation at a striking 21.8%, though lower than the July inflation of 24.8%. It is more than double the national average of 11.5%. The Bono region, however, recorded the lowest inflation at 6.1%. James Eshen support for Joy Business.
All right, so let's hear from the business community on what they make of this development. Joining us via Zoom is the Chief Executive of the Ghana National Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Mark Bedouawaji. Mark, thank you so much for agreeing to speak to us here on Business Live. What does this drop mean to you as a business group?
Yeah, for businesses, I think it's good news. Generally, high level of inflation is not good for any economy because of its negative impact on the general economic performance. High level of inflation means that the policy rate is likely to go up, interest rate to go up. It also erodes the confidence in the economy. So anytime inflation is trending downwards, I think it sends a good signal to the business community, both local investors and international investors as well. It is for that reason that we have an optimal level of inflation of 8 plus or minus 2. And if you look at the trend, we are moving towards the optimal level. For me, is very good and something that I think we should be able to sustain, and it will translate into a positive news for both consumers and then the business community as well.
Do I get the sense that it does justify your case or previous push for the Bank of Ghana to drop the policy rate further in their next meeting?
Obviously, this sends a very compelling signal to the central bank that you've had a sustained reduction in inflation right from the beginning of the year to the level that we have today, as at today 11.5, which, as we said, we've gone below the target, the year target of 11.9. So, if they assuming that the central bank used 11.9 as their measure for putting the policy rate that high, now there's a reason why they should reduce it. So we will still appeal to the central bank that all indicators, all macroeconomic policy indicators point to the direction that the central bank should continuously ease the monetary policy rate. And that, of course, will translate into a lower interest rate for businesses. So we are expecting that the next monetary policy committee meets review. The central bank will look at the data, will look at the current inflation rate, will look at what is happening within the exchange rate market, will look at other indicators, and we are very optimistic that the central bank will reduce the policy rate further for businesses.
Good, you've mentioned the policy rate. Have you also seen a corresponding reduction in the cost of credit following that significant reduction in the policy rate?
There's always a time lag between when the policy rate is reduced and when the commercial banks will also reduce their lending rate. Some are relatively very slow. We have seen some indicators pointing to the direction that lending rate will come down soon. So just like any price, the interest rate is also a price, and prices are always sticky downwards. So the commercial banks, I know they are now adjusting to the new policy rate. Some have shown signs of reduction. So we are hopeful that in the not too distant future, maybe in a few weeks, the lending rate will come down. And then when the policy rate comes down again, it's going to reinforce a further reduction in the lending rate. So I'm sure that the lending rate will come down soon, quite significantly, because we saw a reduction of 3% in the policy rate. So assuming that by the commercial bank also going by that same margin, and usually they go a step further than what the rate at which the policy rate is reduced. So commercial banks, for me, I'm sure that they will cut down their lending rate quite steeper for all of us.
Ultimately, Mark, we want government to do more to sustain the current trend. What do you think government should do?
Well, I think that we need to consolidate what we are already doing. First is the fiscal consolidation that we are doing. The central bank is also doing a lot to ensure that we have a stable exchange rate. Even though we've seen a bit of blip in the few days, I think that if you consolidate it, generally inflation will come down. Food inflation is also coming down gradually. It means that imported inflation is also coming down. So for me, generally, I think we are doing the right thing. We have to sustain what we are doing and not reverse the good things that we are doing by getting to a point where our fiscal policy will slip and have that negative impact on us. So all of us will support. And I think that once all these things are coming down, cost of production also will come down. So the cost effect of inflation will also push inflation further downward. So generally, I think it's good. But let me quick to add that usually when we see the national inflation of 11.5, we assume that it cut across all regions. If you look at the data, if you drill down, you realize that 10 of our 16 regions recorded inflation higher than the national average of 11.5, with Upper West recorded, I think, 21 point something or so, which means that the inflation that we are recording is not broad-based. So if somebody is in upper region, the person is paying more than somebody probably in the greater region. So somebody in the upper region will get up and say inflation is 11.5, and now we're putting pressure on producers to reduce their prices. Meanwhile, the cost there is relatively higher. So I think that we need to look at how we can have a broad-based lower inflation, at least for majority of the regions. That is what people can generally relate to. Another issue also had to do with the inflation for locally produced goods. It's almost 13%, which is above the national average of 11.5, meaning that the cost of production is still very high. That is why the cost or the price for locally produced goods is higher than the average. But if you look at the imported inflation for imported, because of the stability and appreciation of the cedi we have enjoyed over the period, that inflation reduced to 8 point something. So we need to tackle the inflation for the locally produced goods. That is where it affects local manufacturers, local businesses. So we don't have to generalize it that inflation is 11.5. So every business or every region is doing well. It doesn't work that way. Let's drill down and look at what is affecting the locally produced goods and the regions that are recording inflation higher than the average of 11.5.
Chief Executive of the Ghana National Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Mark Bedwabwaji, thank you so much for your input at this very moment. I truly appreciate it. We want to stay a while longer on inflation matters because Deputy Minister of Food and Agriculture, John Dumelo, has underscored the need for heavy investments in local research and development in the agricultural sector. He observes successive governments have failed to dedicate adequate funding to the sector to facilitate scientific research that would enhance productivity and ensure improved food security. According to him, the country's agricultural sector can only thrive efficiently if more funds are channeled to the sector for tailor-made research. More in this report.
The Deputy Sector Minister has been touring the Crops Research Institute to be abreast with the research activities by local scientists. It is part of the Feed Ghana project, which seeks to promote agricultural productivity by institutions, including government institutions and religious bodies. The team of researchers led by the Director of the Research Institute exposed the Minister and his delegation to a variety of enhanced crops developed to support the government's initiative. Local researchers have over the years called for more investment into the scientific and research community to churn out works that would enhance agriculture rather than foreign investments that usually are specific to the donors. The Deputy Sector Minister, John Dumelo, stressed on the need to depoliticize the agriculture sector.
If you look at other countries, they invest a lot in R&D, mainly because we have to be efficient. And in Ghana, we want to be efficient. It's not really about the size of the land. It's about how many tons you can get from an acre. And so we can say, you know, Ghana has so many land. But if we are able to get 2 or 3 tons per hectare of maize, that's not what we want. We want, you know, 5 or 6 or even sometimes 10 tons per hectare, you know. So it's about efficiency, and efficiency comes with CSIR. CSIR is doing an amazing job. I mean, I've been touring here today, and some of the varieties that they have, in fact all the varieties that they have, are something that, you know, if well invested in, can solve most of our problems instead of importation of seeds and so on and so forth. And so I think they need to be adequately funded. We need to make it a purpose, or we need to be intentional about research and development.
Director of the Crops Research Institute, Professor Maxwell Dakwasante, reiterated their commitment to provide technical expertise to achieve the goals for the Feed Ghana project.
We have also put together a team that can support all the other institutions that are doing institutional farming. We'll give them what we call the technical backstopping. It's so important, and I'm happy that Minister understands that. So because all the nations that have developed is because of the emphasis they have put on R&D. And as I mentioned, it's a continuous process. So the technology that is good today will not be good in the next 10 years. So our appeal is that every government program should have a section on R&D.
For Joy News, my name is Emmanuel Bright Kweku.
Away from inflation-related stories, let's now touch on one of our lead stories. The Minister of Communications, Digital Technology and Innovation, Sam George, has announced that MultiChoice Ghana, the operators of DSTV, has until September 6 to reduce its charges or face revocation of license. Speaking at the Digital Africa Summit, Mr. George revealed that government will meet MultiChoice tomorrow to reach a decision.
7th of August, the NCA, acting on my directive, issued a 30-day notice to suspend the license of MultiChoice Ghana Limited, because I'd engaged them and asked them to do a 30% reduction in line with the improved economic conditions in the country. They had failed to comply. I think about 15 or 16 days ago, I met with MultiChoice and imposed a 10,000 cedi daily fine on them. I think so now they owe us about 150 to 170,000 Ghana cedis. The NCA will collect. They have up to the 6th. If by the 6th there is no resolution, we will shut down operations of MultiChoice TV. No company, no corporate entity is more powerful than the collective interest of the Ghanaian people. That much I would serve notice. Hopefully tomorrow, I will make a formal announcement from the ministry. Last night, a team from MultiChoice reached out and they've made some proposals. We've asked for further concessions to be made. I've given them up to close of day today. By tomorrow, I'll make an announcement. But there is every possibility that we will see some resolution to this matter before the 6th of September. But I can assure you of one thing, as your minister, no company will hold Ghanaians to a ransom. The desire of the Ghanaian people, which is to see a reduction in the bouquet prices, will be achieved.
Let's now pause for a breather. I'll be right back with a Joy Business Van. Hello again, welcome back to the Joy Business Van. With a team of expert technicians, cutting-edge technology, and a commitment to using only the highest quality materials, Icon Autotech is raising the standard of vehicle care in the country. We sit down with the founder and CEO, Isaac Nate, to learn how he is driving this transformation.
Another busy day at Icon Autotech, located in Ghana's industrial city, Tema. Expert technicians using the latest tools and technologies to ensure accurate diagnostics and efficient repairs for vehicles. Icon Autotech was founded by Isaac Nate.
Growing up when I was young, we used to do this milk conco stuff. We use them for cars, all right? But when I completed JHS, I couldn't continue, but I decided to go into apprenticeship training. That is where I found my dream.
Isaac trained further in a technical school and secured a job in a leading automobile company, Toyota. At the peak of his career, he decided it was time to start his own business.
What inspired me to even name the company Icon Autotech was my attachment times. When I got an attachment at a company called Kof Autotech in Mocha Road. I worked there for 1 month. The day of salary, I was late for work. Just 30 minutes. The man did not pay me for the whole month. Oh yes. So when I was going home, I took money from friends. I don't know how to pay them. Then I wrote the name Kof Autotech in my book. Then I said, this company that you formed and you didn't pay me for this month, I'm going to do the same thing in the near future. And my name is Isaac, and they used to call me Ike. So I took the Kof out and wrote Ike. And the surname started with N, Nate. And then I added the N, Icon Autotech. Meanwhile, I've never had anything like tools or equipment, nothing. I just wrote it in my book. Then I started working towards it.
That was in 2003.
When I had that dream from the apprenticeship training, I started buying small tools for myself. And then when I got to Toyota, I saw life in automobile. I noticed that automobile will never expire. Cars will keep coming all the time. And Toyota also built my confidence in automobile. They made us feel that being an automobile engineer is not a mistake. We learn every day. When I started, it was not easy. Yeah, this is our 6th location. You get the land, they sack you, you rent this, they sack you, you buy here, they take it from you. I went through hell, but because I focused on what I want to do from 2003, we are in 2024, and we are doing it.
The automotive repair business is capital intensive. For the dream Isaac had, he had to invest in modern equipment.
And most of the machines that we use here, I saw them in Japan. I used them actually, and I noticed that it's actually helped the way we work. It helps us in repairing cars faster, easier, and smoother than when I was in Ghana. So right from then, I started, doing some research about where to get them from. Though I couldn't get it from Japan, I got it from China, and that's how it started. Because this work, you can know the job, but if you don't have the right equipment, you will still fail. If you have the right equipment and you don't have the right engineers, you still fail. So I decided to kind of invest in the personality, which is a human resource, and then equipment.
ICANN is poised to provide top-notch automotive services to keep vehicles running smoothly and looking its best.
ICANN Autotech, basically, we are into automobile body repair, spraying, upholstery, mechanical, electrical, AC, transmission, pimping and remodification. Once in a while, we do bulletproof vans also, and then technical training for anyone at all who wants to learn automobile. And when I say automobile, it's not just mechanical. Body, paint, mechanical, electrical, AC, transmission.
Next time, we'll learn more about ICANN Autotech's journey and what makes the services provided unique.
If you cannot bring your vehicle here, call us. We can come to your house, pick it up, work on it, and give it back to you or deliver it to you. We also have mobile vans that we move around to service vehicles for customers. Some big cars, they don't want their cars to come out. So what we do is that we move to your house, mount the paint booths, then we paint the car in your house.
Thanks so much for watching Business Life with me, Pius Kojobaka. We have more for you when you log on to myjoyonline.com/business. Grateful serving you.